Please listen carefully.
Well, hello, universe, and welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Kristy Jansen.
And I'm Summers McKay.
We are part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to help us all get focused on what's going right in the world.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy, at-home, still kind of sick, and the baby is napping-worthy podcast. Today is Wednesday, the 8th of December, 2021.
Yeah, that's what you get for traveling, Summers.
I know. I have like the Disney flu, and it is so funny because yesterday I didn't record, and I sort of recorded, right? My voice was absolutely unlistenable, and it's probably unlistenable today too, but maybe by Friday I'll be better. But going back out into the world, Kristy, remember I said I was like so worried about how the trip would go? Well, the trip was lovely, and it was tons of fun, except for the raging cold we all got.
That's
so. Yeah, we're like 4 negative COVID tests later. And unfortunately, there's also been a COVID outbreak in my daughter's classroom. So it's very funny because all these kids likely got COVID last week when Brennan wasn't even in school. And now the classroom shut down and we had to get another negative COVID test. So we are sneak recording this during her nap. I am delightfully impressed with the lithe nature of our team being willing to do this. But Kristy, how did the week go? How was the world of optimism while I was off in magical Disneyland?
Well, I had a good time. I had a really good time recording this podcast with Amelia and with Ariel in your absence. We did miss you, but it went good. Amelia and I were congratulating each other for how fun our records were, actually.
Okay, well, speaking of really fun, I know I talk about this all the time, but it's really, really fun. Kristy, we had over 9,000 listeners in November.
You know what? Amelia told me that. So she shared that. In fact, she said it on the pod. So
we're saying it again because
yes, we're saying it again.
Goats. Oh
because
my goodness.
We're thrilled with that.
This is like a real thing here that we're doing here 2 years later. Do you know that we did our first little dabble in this about 2 years ago? And we did it with a Facebook Live.
Right. Oh, that was ridiculous.
Yeah. Remember that super awkward time where you were on one computer and I was on the other and we didn't know how the internet worked?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Let's not rub that in. But yes.
No, but I think it's so fascinating, the evolution of just our own skill set and the storytelling at the Optimist Daily and where we are today. So I couldn't be more grateful for all the work Amelia has put in to helping us grow this podcast into what it is. And frankly, you and I for being just absolute kick-tail chicks, trying not to say a bad word because this is kid-friendly. Sure. And for Ariel for joining in the crowd.
I love it. And it's interesting.
Good. Yeah.
You mentioned your challenges with the childcare situation. You were traveling and now your daughter's school is having a COVID outbreak. And that is exactly what's going on for so many parents all over the country in the United States and probably in other communities around the world too. But not having that stable, reliable childcare or having enough people in your household who can step in.
Right.
When you're when you have to do work. It's just
this morning when I was at Walgreens picking up my COVID tests.
Your fourth COVID?
Our fourth COVID test. I was like super oversharing with the checkout guy because he didn't care about my family situation, but I nonetheless needed to talk to another adult human. And I was just saying, like, here we are testing again. Good thing our employers don't all fire us because we're back home taking care of our kids. And, I just like really miss community and I miss tribe and I love my life, but COVID makes me really miss being in a communal environment. Very much so.
I get it. I get it. Well,
Yeah.
talking about community, should I go first with my story?
I guess I did just cue you up. I
You
didn't even
did.
mean to,
That
but
was a nice
yes, you
little
hit it.
layup there.
Do it.
So the article that I wanted to focus on today, the headline reads, "This neighborhood supports one of Latin America's largest community gardens." And the reason I wanted to talk about this article, and I'll get into the details in a minute, is I am so pro community garden, and I feel like that is, first of all, it's a resiliency solution, it's a climate change solution, and it's a community solution. It's something about bringing people together because it's a shared project that helps us get to know our neighbors, and it also gives us food in our backyards or in our communities, which is super important. And this article is actually talking about the Manguinhos neighborhood in Rio de Janeiro, which was once a polluted and dangerous area. But after a community got together, tons of effort, it's now a thriving vegetable garden that feeds 800 families in the city. It's made up of 300 beds that are the size of 4 soccer fields. It's one of the largest in Latin America. It's called Hortas Cariocas, meaning Carioca vegetable garden. Carioca is what the Rio de Janeiro residents are called. They're the Cariocas. I actually spent a part of a summer there one year with my friend Claudia. Not in this neighborhood, but in other. But anyway, the Hortas Cariocas is a garden initiative that was launched in 2006. It employs dozens of local farm workers while providing nutritious and affordable food to the local residents. And it also helps to prevent flooding and landslides within the region, because that's a big issue. Rio de Janeiro has very steep hills all around it, which is part of what makes it so beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world, in my personal experience. And this garden in Manguinhos is the first one, and it's the largest, but there's also 40 similar smaller gardens that are located around the city now that are run by Hortas Cariocas. So I just feel like this is such a great solution. The other thing it's a solution for is inflation, which is a very serious issue in Brazil. So reliable fresh food can be hard to come by if you're dealing on a very small income. So having food, which, that tomato can cost $1 one day and $3 the next day, and that's the kind of hyperinflation that you sometimes are dealing with in Brazil. So the actual goods are more valuable than the money, which is unstable. Anyway, this is a cool solution. Organizers are continuing to expand and place even more community gardens and neighborhoods in this city, and it's something that I think we all should think about.
I love this story because it touches on both an economic and an ecological issue, right? Recognizing that locally sourced food is available to families of need, and then also the ecological positive impact of preventing landslides and flooding is so, we don't think about that the teeny tiny things we can do, like a small local garden, can actually improve the ecological footprint of a neighborhood. But it is so meaningful. So this story makes me want to travel, and it also makes me want to make garden soup.
Both good things.
Yes. All right. So my headline today reads, "Researchers invent revolutionary non-invasive brain surgery." All right. We all know, anybody who listens regularly, that I'm like super into the brain and the way the brain repairs itself. But sometimes the brain can't repair itself. Sometimes we need surgery. That little box beneath our skull has millions of wires running inside of it, and one wrong interaction with these can potentially have fatal effects. In the majority of the cases, this procedure leaves people with a long recovery process, permanent adjustments on how they live their everyday lives. Brain surgery is tricky. Well, I guess that's the understatement of the year, right, Kristy?
Yeah.
So, thanks to new research from the University of Virginia School of Medicine, a non-invasive alternative to traditional brain surgery has been created. It's called Ping, and what it does is it sneaks in there and edits away problematic cells which cause disease, while ensuring healthy architecture remains intact. It works by using an MRI, guiding penetration techniques before a targeted neurotoxin is delivered to the damaged brain cells. So I actually have had MRI guided neurological help in my life because I have a nerve that's entrapped, and they've used an MRI to guide in order to inject said nerve. This is not dissimilar from that process. So Kevin Lee, who is a researcher who contributed to the study, is quoted as saying, "Our hope is that the PING strategy will become a key element in the next generation of very precise, non-invasive neurological approaches to treat major neurological disorders." Now, a lot of folks who have neurological disorders that lead to seizures do not respond to medication, and this is an alternative to that medication. We got this from a study in the Journal of Neurosurgery, and it's just a really, really exciting idea on basically targeting specific cells that are damaged and not having to affect any of those that are not.
Right. And
so I like it.
I like it too. And it's an example of how precision in medicine can really make a difference. And by actually not just having a unique brain, but rather focusing on the unique cells that are that needing to be edited away, you can have a huge advantage over the benefits versus the risks in that kind of very, very complex neurosurgery.
Well, I'm going to say so a lot of systemic pain in people's bodies is neurological pain. And when I was early in my experience in understanding neurological pain, I did not fully get what that meant. When I was told, oh, it's not muscular, it's not skeletal, it's neurological, that kind of felt like somebody was saying to me, it's all in your head. And the understanding of the neural pathways and the way that pain is transmitted or damage is transmitted, that it is the teeniest, tiniest area that can be damaged, that can cause redundant pain through somebody's system, or seizures, or visual impairment, or auditory or verbal impairment. It is just so fascinating. And I just love sort of unmasking that neurological pain has real major impacts in people's lives. And this is a step towards solving it.
Yay.
Yay. Okay. All right. Probably everyone is sick of hearing my voice today. And I think 13 minutes and some odd change in, I'm wearing out. So Kristy, will you read us out on the headlines? And
I will.
Everybody the rest.
We have a lot of actually interesting medical advanced stories. We have an article about how a new biomaterial can repair damaged organs. We're talking about extending the life of our artificial Christmas trees with tips and tricks.
Okay, I am a big artificial Christmas tree person. I never was. And then I inherited an artificial Christmas tree.
Okay.
And I love it.
New technology which reduces Chernobyl's radiation levels by 47%. San Antonio Zoo celebrates the birth of 10 endangered Komodo dragons. Ooh,
I do a field trip for Brennan and me over the holiday.
Oh yeah, you can get there in a car. Yeah,
yes,
you can just drive up there and see the Komodos. They're quite interesting creatures. AI and robots team up to piece together ancient Pompeii frescoes. And of course, they're controlled by their human operators, I'm sure, not just the AI and robots together. Not yet.
I mean, if they weren't, it'd be cool.
They will come together at some point.
Meanwhile, Keanu Reeves is making a movie. It's a thing.
Children can get migraines also. Here's how to recognize them. Cardboard pods provide shelter to animals displaced by bushfires. And this organization equips schools to offer students more nutritious meals. That and more on today's optimistdaily.com. Go check it out. But that's it for today's Optimist Daily update. Thanks everybody for listening. We love our audience. Summers, I'm so glad you're back, and I am so happy to have all of you out here. We promise to keep sharing these positive solution-based stories with ideas on how you can participate in the changing world and ensure it is changed for the good. Start your day with a little bit of positivity and real solutions that are happening all over the world. We're going to keep covering these events with accuracy, legitimate sources, and offering you the information we all need to to help chart new paths for all of us. And if you are not already and you have the means, please consider becoming an emissary on theoptimistdaily.com. And you can help support reader-funded independent journalism that is the Optimist Daily and this podcast. And you can starting at just $5 a month, you can support the reader-funded Optimist Daily and be part of the solution-changing consciousness that addresses our world's biggest challenges with that problem-solving mindset. Summers, I think that's it. I'm not going to let you talk anymore today, but
all right,
everybody, please help us keep the Optimist Daily free for all who need it, supported by those of us who can. We'll be back tomorrow with more solutions.
Bye, guys.